Hi everyone, for today's video I'm going to share with you my favorite default Procreate brushes to use in my digital illustrations, just because I get this question a lot on my Instagram, and also I remember back when I was just starting Procreate, I was very curious as to what other artists use as their brushes, and I preferred it to be just the default brushes because of course I didn't want to pay for the custom brushes. But there are times that custom brushes are definitely worth paying for, but a lot of times you think that you need custom brushes when in fact even the default ones would really I don't know, complete your illustrations already. So just a tip for you before we start, I recommend for you to have a different section for your favorite brushes so that they're more accessible to you whenever you're drawing. You don't have to go back and forth from sketching to inking to painting brushes. You just collect them there. So first, let's start with sketching. I only use one brush for sketching, and it's the 6B pencil brush under the obviously sketching section. I like this because of its texture. It's so close to what an actual pencil's texture is. And I also use this for line art sometimes, and sometimes coloring, depending on the mood that I want to convey in my illustration. As an example, this is what it looks like whenever you're using it for sketching, and this is what it looks like whenever you use it for coloring and line art. I only use actually one brush for this in this entire illustration. It's the 6B pencil brush. Next is the studio pen under the inking section. This has to be my most used brush because I use this for line art, for color blocking, for shadows, and even the highlights. It's just the kind of style I'm into mostly these days. Sometimes I change it up just to experiment, but usually I go for the studio pen for almost everything except the sketch, as you can see here. So whenever I feel like using a textured brush for my line art, I usually go for this brush called Mercury under the inking section still. I like it because obviously of its texture, and also I can make very thin lines and very delicate lines with this. Like for example, in my eyebrows, the hair strands in my eyebrows, eyelashes, the very thin like fluttery eyelashes, I like using this for those. As an example, here in this illustration I used Mercury for my line art in this. Next brush is the hard airbrush under the airbrushing section. I actually used this a lot before, back when I was just starting Procreate. However, now it's been replaced obviously by the studio pen. Now I use this mainly for the blushes, sometimes for the shadows in the skin, and also for the highlights sometimes. As an example, in this illustration I used hard airbrush for the skin. Like you can see the gradients in the skin. I used the hard airbrush for this. I usually pair it with the soft brush under the airbrushing section. What I mean by using them together is that whenever I lay down colors using the hard airbrush, I will then blend them together using the soft brush by using this tool, which is the smudge tool. Of course, you can also use this just as a paintbrush. Sometimes I use it for the backgrounds, like gradients in the backgrounds, and also sometimes in the hair. Whenever I want that gradient look in the hair, I also use this. And as you can see here, it blends colors together very nicely. By the way, here I should have put soft brush instead of the soft airbrush. They're two different brushes. Again, it's the soft brush, not the soft airbrush. And of course, the last brush that we have is the shale brush under the calligraphy section. To be honest with you, I don't use this brush so much only because I already have other brushes for my workflow. But at the same time, I wanted to include this because it might be for you. It's a beautiful brush. I actually used it for this illustration. I don't remember using it for other illustrations. I think it's just this one, but as you can see, it has this really nice texture to it, and I think you might like it. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. I hope you find this video helpful, especially when you're just starting to use Procreate, because I know I was there when I was just starting. I was very confused because there are many brushes, but my tip for you is to just experiment and see what works for you and what doesn't. And also, if you like this video, please show me by liking it and also subscribing to my channel if you want to see more of my videos like this. And if you have video suggestions, just leave a comment below. And also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram if you want to see more of my artworks, because I upload more there, like 3 to 4 times a week. If you want that, please follow me. It's linked in my description. Thank you so much.